Oh, it looks like we started today without even going into playing our um, opening credits. Well, Zoe does that. So how about we go and do our opening credits? I was so excited, in the green room chatting with Ruth. I'm kind of frazzled a little bit, but hey, welcome. Good morning. We're going to play our opening credits now. We'll be right back. How about that?
My younger self, what's your story?
To my younger self, what's your story?
To my younger self.
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 To my younger self, what's your story? To my younger self, what's your story?
Well, hello there and good morning. Welcome back. We did things a little different today. You know what? Ruth will do that to you. I was just so excited. I was like, oh, yeah, we're talking and talking. And anyway, I'm going to try very hard not to show all of my excitedness in one go. I'm going to try to pace myself because there's so much going on right now. But like we always do, first, who is here? I want to hear from you. Go into the comment section and say good morning to me in your local dialect. If you're somewhere that is afternoon, say good afternoon to me in your local dialect. If it's evening, if it's good night, say it to me in your local dialect. Put it in the comment section. But before that, also, I want you to just hit on that little share button, right? And say, just share it and say, listen, incredible person is on To My Younger Self today. And I want you to come on and say hello. Okay. Oh my God. Look at you guys. Executive producer herself, Elsie Dixon. Good morning. The seventh Nana himself, Machin, Minyabema Machin. Oh, it's so good to see you. Wow. Yes, Machin to you. Christabel had to say Akwaba. Thank you so much for sharing. Doris, it is so good to see you. Wow. Oh, no, from the hospital. I hope you're doing well, my dear. We'll be praying with you, okay? All righty. Let us see what is going on. Can I greet you guys from different places in Africa? Yes, let us do it. Barka da zuwa to you, Sanunku da zuwa yaya de kakwana lafia. I hope you slept well. It is so good to see you. Ya ken tuma fudua wela tuma awela. We are grateful. I just greeted you in Hausa and also Kusal. I'm just saying, did you wake up well? It is good to see you. How is work? How are the kids? That's how Africans greet each other, right? We don't just say good morning and kind of leave it. We ask you about your family. Is everything well with you? Like wholeheartedly well, okay? Ndina to you, Wezo, Leke, F1. I hope you're doing well. I just greeted you in Eve. If you're from the Volta region, it doesn't matter if you live anywhere in the world, I want to hear from you. Etiseng Akwaba, Yamawache. You just heard me respond to a few people in the comment section greeting me in that Kan dialect. I thank you so much for joining us. Ibella to you, Ibio Kibari to you. If you speak Moshi, I greet you. Moshi is one of my greatest mother tongues. So, hey, Saubonani to you. If you speak Zulu, I think maybe Ruth can kind of teach me how to say more greetings in all of the dialects in South Africa. I'm so excited about that. Te Oyo Tang, I hope you're doing well. OJ Ko to you. If you speak Gang, I am greeting you. Ekaro to you. Ekabo. Do you speak Yoruba? I am greeting you. Nagadev to you. If you speak Wolof, how are you? All of my people in Senegal and all places in Africa that speak Wolof, thank you for joining us. Jambo! I like to say Jambo. It just feels like something you're going to dance to, like, the beginning of a song. So Jambo to you. Habari Gani. Habari Yao Suboi to you. If you speak Swahili, I greet you. Karibu Sana to you. I am greeting you. Aloy Domilake. Do you speak Bisa? Thank you for joining us. Kotoli to you. If you are Fulani and you speak Fofoldi, thank you for joining us. Of course, always to our Ayiti Sheri people, Akeyi to you, we greet you. Thank you for joining us. Do you speak Creole? We love you and we're grateful that you're here to share stories with us and hear stories with us. Bom dia to you. If you speak Portuguese, bonjour, buongiorno, e maraba to you. I'm going to try to do something I've never done before, which is to greet you in patois. And I tried to start to learn it, yesterday. So this is funny. But good morning to you. I hope I got that right. Ruth, Ruth is going to kind of try to teach me that. But it is good to see every one of you. Oh my goodness, the chat room is blowing up. Let us see. Hello to you. Oh my goodness. Mama Rose is here. Ooh, can I say this? Vuchi? I hope I said that right. Mama Rose, what dialect is that in in Kenya? Can you teach us? Thank you so much. It is so good to see all of you. Mama Rose says, Habaria Asubwe Vuchi Murembe. Murembe to you. Thank you for joining us. Listen, I'm already 6 minutes in and I'm going on and on and on, but I am so excited to see every one of you. Again, go into the comment section. Go into the little, into the video and share. Okay, we want a lot of people here today hearing Ruth just tell us about her exciting life. Now, let me set the stage up for you a little bit. As you all know, our next guest storyteller is Ruth Kwakwa. I am absolutely in love with this woman without shame, okay? Oh my God, it is such a joy to just talk to her. So anyway, she reminds me of, for those of you who read Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, only she is not living in a fantasy world, okay? Her zest for life is real. Her enjoyment of walking endlessly and curiously through unfamiliar streets and towns, just people watching and listening, smelling, feeling, piecing together slices of life, noticing and sampling, looking at life through other people's eyes, highlighting perspectives. Can I tell you, she has, her perspective is like, I'm telling you, wondering what humans can borrow from each other and asking, why not? Man, I should have won that t-shirt that said, why not? And then wondering again for as far as the streets will take her. Roots, her general disposition is just genuine and her outlook on life is incredible. She's, to me, the kind of happy person you meet and then start speaking to and realize, oh my God, it's been 8 hours already. But then in your mind, you're like, that was 20 minutes. Okay, we got together on Sunday, and before we noticed, we had gone into all corners of life, just talking and talking. And the reason we actually were on there was to do a dry run. Can you believe that? We probably didn't even really do that. I am so excited to just introduce Ruth to you. She's to me again like the pen pal that I never had, because I never really had a great pen pal. But just reading emails from Ruth gives me a permanent smile on my face because you're just excited. You're like, oh, is that what's going on? Oh my God. Oh my God. She writes so well and her words come alive. There is just this vibrancy around her words that just makes you want to just keep reading and reading from her. And then when you happen to listen to her or talk to her, you just want to keep talking to her. It's so good to meet people like Ruth. And I cannot wait to just do a little introduction of her to you, something that she put together. And, we kind of moved it around a little bit. But before we do that, I want to play a little video. This show today is sponsored by the Rockland Fashion Week. Whoop, whoop, to my younger self going stronger. And so we're going to share a little video from the Rockland Fashion Week from last year and what they're planning to do this year. And then we'll be right back. And then we're going to bring Ruth into the green room. Okay, can we do that? All righty, guys, just hanging tight with us. We'll be right back. And when we come back, Ruth will be with us. We'll see you soon. This always happens every single time. All right, let's see what we can do. We're going to remove that and try to add.
So it's all about Rockin' Fashion Week 2022. But let's talk about Rockin' Fashion Week 2021. It was amazing. What was so good about it was that, at first you're thinking, okay, fine, you have a dream, a concept, and then it comes together. The Palisade Center hosted us. And of course, let me just say, it was so successful that literally 2 days later, they had me in to sign again. So anyway, but we had over 500 patrons. And when you look at all the floors, all 3 floors, people looking down. And then of course, we had our paying customers as well. But the beauty of the runway was you could see yourself. We had tall models, short models, younger models, older models. We even had a child designer. And then of course, we had an autistic model. And we had a model who was legally blind. So we had the whole 9 yards. But the lighting was amazing. You know what I mean? The runway, we had over 80 models. So the very professional show, we had 12 designers, which means that each designer was able to show their work. And of course, we had entertainment. We had a Jamaica reggae artist. We had Stephen Blake. We had Mark Wade. So it was just an amazing time. And we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again on November 5th, Saturday, 2022. It's going to be at the Palisade Center. You have to be there. And then after the show, all these people are coming up to me and I'm like, wow, it was that successful. And I owe it all to my team and to you who came to see the show, you who visualized the show. Like for example, we had quite a few press and media there, News 12, we had the whole 9 yards. And it just goes to show that when you put a good product out and a whole lot of hard work, that it will become successful. So of course, our success is based on you being there. But also, one of the good things, Visit Nyack called and they introduced us to Nyack Hospital, their breast wellness department. And so we're gonna have 12 models who have thankfully survived breast cancer who will be walking this November. So we're just pumped already. Of course, we're gonna give thanks to Hotel Nyack for hosting our launch party. So that was a big event in itself and we had live performance. So, hashtag stay excited and hashtag RFW. So it's gonna be Saturday, November 5th, 2022 at the Palisade Center at 5:30. So you can come and, come in your regalia. Okay, come come and bring it, okay? Because it's a fashion show. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Well, 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 we welcome Hope Wade and of course the Rockland Fashion Show to my younger self, or to the family of To My Younger Self. It's an incredible, Zoe can't talk today. It's an incredible time in November that's going to be. And of course, we didn't plan it, but it turns out Hope is actually Jamaican. So can you imagine that? And of course, it's breast cancer month. So we're just a lot of prayers, a lot of positive vibes to every person that is going through it in this season, going through cancer and all that. Listen, women, go get checked out, okay? All righty. So Ruth is a Jamaican Ghanaian dancing between 2 places that she calls home. She is a wife, friend, sidekick, co-pilot, fellow nerd to Kofi, her lovely husband. She also is a long distance, sometimes exasperating mother to 320 plenties. I love Ruth, man. Her words, huh? And a long distance daughter to a quirky, active 83-year-old. Ruth did her undergrad and master's in sociology and anthropology and city planning, both in the United States. In recent times, Ruth became a certified life coach. This move places her in a better position to collaborate with the 20 plenties of society as they figure out adulting, hopefully improving on the old models of guidance counseling and traditional advising. As their champion and cheerleader, Ruth is developing a coaching for adulting practice and building on her former experience as a dean of students at Ashesi University, an academic city college in Ghana. The moment of truth is here, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, storytelling connoisseurs, please do me a favor, big favor. Go into the comment section, say welcome to the absolutely vivacious, incredible Ruth Kwakwa. Hi!
I need you as my hype girl.
Oh my God, look at you. You are so pretty.
Thank you.
Oh, welcome to my younger self, Ruth. Like we say, now the show is yours. I'm just going to sit back, take a sip of my tea, and hear you tell stories, Ruth. Take us away.
Is that how it works? You just leave me?
I just
Okay.
leave you, man. My job is done. My job is done.
All right. All right. Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for the fun, because we all need fun in our lives. No fun, no joy. So all right.
Wow.
So let's do this. I've been trying to put myself in the visitors in their shoes, wondering what do I have to say that's of any interest to anyone. When you came at me and said tell stories, I don't think storytellers realize that we actually have stories. We just chat. We just chat. We laugh and we cry. I cry a lot, and we just go at it. So I thought, okay, well, what do I want to chat about? So let's take it from there. So one of the questions that people ask me, because they're fascinated about how a Jamaican has ended up in Ghana, is how did you end up in Ghana? Right? It's a basic, why are you here?
Plane, and then I got to Ghana.
It's kind of basic.
Yes.
And by the way, good morning. How you do? What you say? Everything all right?
Everything all right?
All right then, baby. We're all right. Everybody hearty? Yes. All right.
Yes.
So I tell them, well, I just fell in love and eventually came to Ghana. So that's the basics. But when I speak with students, because they used to be my biggest sort of one-on-one audience, I tell them about connecting the dots. And I tell them about thinking forward about what their lives can be by the time they're 100, and know that the dots will connect themselves, even if you can't predict where things will go. Just know that later on you'll look back and it will all make sense. So in answering the question about how I ended up in Ghana, I look back and think, yeah, how did this all happen? What I first think about was when I was about 9. And a lot of Jamaicans left Jamaica because of political violence. And I lost a lot of really good friends from school. And there was a bit of sadness there. But one of them moved to the Grand Cayman. And one summer, my family, they would all go to Belize, which was my father's birth country. Belize in Central America. And as a 9-10-year-old, I said, no, I don't want to go to Belize. I mean, I want to, but I have somewhere else that I'd like to go. And a 9-year-old refusing to go with father, mother, and brother. And they said, where do you want to go? As if there's an option.
Right.
And I said, no, I really miss my girlfriend in Grand Cayman. So I want to go to Grand Cayman. Wow. Long story short, parents actually said, you know what, Ruth, you can go. To this day, I get teary-eyed about it because I had never actually been to Belize, my grandparents, my grandfather's hometown. But I was so sure that I wanted to rekindle friendship that my parents said, okay, you can fly to Grand Cayman by yourself. The rest of the family will go to Belize. Fast forward to now, I'm almost embarrassed about the request that I made, but I was so sure, and I remember being sure, and I don't know, but fear was not, as we say in Ghana, fear was not among. Fear was not an option. I just said, I need to rekindle a friendship, and she and I are still friends. So a few years later, I was about 14, I think I was in fourth form, form 4, and there was this class trip to Mexico.
Mm.
But I had just gone to my dad, and my teeth are kind of, my two front teeth were kind of like at angles to each other. And as a teenager coming of age, a bit concerned about image, I had read too many American books probably. And I said, oh, I'd like to get braces. And my dad was like, okay, yeah, braces. Yeah, we'll pray about that one. Pause. But then there was a class trip. There was a trip to Mexico that a few of my classmates were going on.
Mm.
So I ran back to dad, proposal ready, because when it came to trips, there had to be a proposal.
Wow.
And I said, Dad, Mexico, I want to go. I had traveled before, but not with my classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Dad said, Ruth, braces or trip?
Wow.
Is that even a question? What? Braces, goodbye. Braces out the window, forget vanity. I was into Mexico. So off I went. Best time ever, 2-week trip with a guy who still does the business. And somewhere while in Mexico, I remember thinking, I could do this. I could do this more. I could do this for a longer period of time. And it lodged in memory.
Wow.
Got back to Jamaica. And I said, Mommy and Daddy, I want to do this thing for a year. I had no idea how it was going to be possible. But at that point, I realized that I was a bit frisky footed. You know, my feet, or as my parents say, walk bout. Lord Ruth, you love to walk bouty. So I was a wandering soul, barefooted, running up and down the street. And I said, no, I want to do this for longer. And up pops this thing called AFS, which is an intercultural exchange program. And I can't remember the sequencing, but what I know is that I found out about it just before the deadline.
Wow.
And I said, no, I want a scholarship and I want to go and live overseas for a year. And my friend said, no, but you're going to miss a year of school. You'll miss us. I was like, probably, but what's a year of school? And I'm sorry, but right now, Spain, going overseas for a year is just screaming at me. How can I step into other people's lives? Our house had been littered with National Geographics. My parents were academics, teacher, professor. We always had learning material around. I'd spent forever learning about, Bambos, Tuktu, all these people all across the world, and being so visual, all the images just grabbed me. And I said, I want to go overseas for a year. Somehow, I talked my way. Okay, surprise. As my father says, I talked my way into that scholarship.
Wow.
And boom, scatty boom, I land with Spain. And I think for Jamaicans, they seldom send us to the US, unlike Americans. I think they put us in that go wherever there's a space bag.
Wow.
So I don't even remember us going to the States, but I have a friend here in Ghana, Jamaican friend here in Ghana, who had gone to Norway. I got Spain. So we're just kind of scattered all over the place. And off I went. And once again, in hindsight, I'm like, what were my parents thinking? I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
There was no internet. Please, we beg. Internet, Niho. That was not a mall. There was, we didn't have Momo or any way of
MTN or Zelle or PayPal, none of that.
You had to go to the bank and write some funny kind of check, which apparently I lost the check that my parents gave me, and I only know this through the letters that I kept from those days. I was like, ooh, not a good move. I lost the money on day one. But off I went to Spain. living with a bunch of strangers. And it's not like I went to Barcelona or Madrid or a big city. No. They sent me to a little farming community of 17,000 people,
Oh
close
my
to the
God.
Portuguese side. So much so that when I tell people in Spain where I live, they're like,
Where that?
where? Why? And I said, well, actually, that was a capital. I actually lived in a small town called Zafra in Badajoz. And the small town gave me life. Coming from Kingston, okay, Kingston's not all that big compared to Accra, but compared to whatever I had experienced, here I was, 17,000 people, only Black person for miles. I think maybe I saw one or two, brown folk showing up at some point. So I was a huge novelty. Um,
Wait, wait,
and
wait, wait, wait. Did people stop you and just go?
yeah, man. Yeah, man. No stopping, which is why I'm very sympathetic to people who want to touch hair and all of that, because honestly, when people are curious about you, they're not doing it with malice or anything. They really have not seen the likes of you, or they really have not been exposed to the likes of you, right? It's like when white folks show up in a village in Ghana, everybody's like pawing them because they don't know that. So anyway, so I was a rarity. And I remember going into this pastry store because pastries are my thing. And the guy says in Spanish, no, you can't eat that. And I said, well, why can't I eat it? And he was kind of a bit embarrassed. He says, no, you can't eat that. It turns out he thought I was Moro. He thought I was North African and that I couldn't, and possibly Muslim, and that I couldn't eat pig lard, pig fat. And so he was trying to protect me. So in a small town, I got these kind of interactions. I've been back to that small town twice or three times. My host family is still there. I've been back to the school. I went back to the school. My history teacher was there, Ruthethita, Ruth, Rupertita, everything that they called me. I took my kids back to see that town. But it was an amazing year that I would not have changed. I would not have been in a bigger city. It was absolutely perfect for my soul and for my heart. I learned about living with people of other faith. I mean, I was from a Christian background, but Baptist, and I lived with Catholics. Completely different life from what I'd been exposed to. I went to a school where you could smoke in the classroom, where you could share cigarettes, because back then, Spain was very liberal with cigarettes, and school, it was fine. I learned to smoke. Okay, full confession. I tried a thing. Me try a thing.
I can't with you.
I tried it, and it's just cigarettes. Just cigarettes.
Just that's it.
But what I remember, my wandering soul remembers walking through cobbled streets, absolutely winding around, loving it, having wine and cheese with my father after siesta, walking out into the big open fields after lunch, hanging out with my classmates and totally fitting in, learning what it's like to be an underdog. Because for the first time, so I went from school in Jamaica where me and my mates, we just had a great time with each other all the time. I think some of them are listening. To going to a place where, hey, Spanish, me, hey.
The fee speak self.
Please, I did Spanish until O levels, but when I landed, did the thing matter? No. In fact, my dear friend from Iceland, who was there for the year, who spoke nothing of Spanish, she just ran. She just ran with the Spanish while I was trying to be perfect. I was trying to conjugate verbs. Anyway, we understood and I was understood. So that's all that counts. That year, there's this fabulous book about adulting. And what it says is that you want to give young people, this experience because they now get used to spending their time in their heads. Yeah. We're so gadget oriented. I'm so book oriented. We're all so outward focused that we forget that we actually need to spend time with ourselves in our own heads. being in that country was the most mentally exhausting thing that I had done in my years.
Wow.
Because you had to think in a foreign language. You went to bed mentally exhausted. I mean, and so I also spent a lot of time writing letters. So all of my friends in Jamaica wrote to me. One of them is here. They would write to me as if it was a journal. Letters took 4 to 6 weeks. I would spend time writing. And in writing, you really have to think and compose and spend time with yourself. I remember there was a point at which something wasn't going right. I can't even remember. So clearly it wasn't all that big. My brother, and I wrote moaning to my brother who was at college by this. And brother man just said, Ruth, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Hey, small sympathy I'm looking for.
You won't give.
He said, Ruth, if you feel sorry for yourself, that's the end of that. Hey, tears in my eyes, my heart broke. But I learned. And I learned how to get beyond yourself, to get over your pity party, and to just forge ahead. And God and I had a lot of conversations that year. And what I walked away with was, God kind of gives you a lot of skills to get by. So just get on with them, right? And make it happen for you. So that year for me was, man, there's so many stories around that year. They're singing in the choir at school, and we sang some Basque songs, which aren't the Spanish language that we know. It was just a fabulous year of exploration and realizing that I could, and that I could push past a lot of fears that many of us and a lot of girls grow up with. Because I was in the thick of it. I just had to get on with it. I couldn't call in a panic when I ran out of money. You just make a plan.
You just make a plan.
It was a year of whoosh, incredible immersion. Wow. So that was my mega frisky foot moment. And when I look back and connect the dots, what comes up for me is the goodness of people. Because that became very clear to me. Without looking for the goodness of people, I was chased by goodness. It was left, right, center. Everything wasn't perfect, but I was chased by goodness and good people. And when I look back at that year, I'm just full of joy. So that year, among other things, has caused me to want to give every single young person, if I had a dream, every single young person before the age of 18 would live in a country or environment radically different from the one that they grew up in with their parents. To have those moments of reflection, curiosity, self-talk, and creating questions for yourself.
Yes.
Because you walk away with an incredible sense of questioning. I mean, how many whys could I ask that year? Or what if? Or
can you give me some of the questions? I'm so curious.
So one of the big questions became my enduring question. And that kind of, when it took me back to Jamaica, and then it took me out of Jamaica again for undergrad, because my mind by then was just full of questions and my soul was wandering. The enduring question, and I didn't know it at the time, I've only gone back and connected the dots. The enduring question was, how come Spain, coming out of a Franco dictatorship or a repressive government, how come Spain managed to develop itself so incredibly? Whereas Jamaica, things are good, but we're hustling. We're hustling, man. We're hustling. How do you get two different countries growing at different speeds in terms of development? And, you know, we have things that are different but similar. I'm coming from Bob Marley, but I'm going to the land of Sevillana. You know, where people eat at 11 o'clock at night, from where people eat at 7 o'clock at night. So many differences, but so many things linking us. What is it that makes these two countries so radically different in terms of development? And as a 17, 16, 17-year-old, my heart yearned for Jamaica to become better quickly. And I started asking, what is it that leads countries to develop at different paces? Or how can you organize or educate people or sort of socially engineer countries so that people move in the direction that you want them to move? Education is one of the ways in which social engineering takes place. Religion is one. Good planning, good spatial planning, how you plan a country. And that kind of led me into sociology, anthropology.
Wow, that question.
That was a question. In hindsight, it's not like I knew all of this then, but I did have the little questions, okay?
Yeah.
That led me to Swarthmore. And then after that, I went to grad school where I did city planning and I focused on development. And I guess I did it because a question was there, even though I didn't quite understand where the question was coming from. It was, how do you organize people? How do you organize space? How do you organize money? How do you organize what people's tendency towards is? If people like to dance, well, how do you organize a society without ignoring culture and who they are? Because we're not asking you to change. We're just asking you to get better at what you do so that you can develop as a nation. So it created an incredible amount of curiosity for me, the lingering question that kind of followed me around. And I think it taught me that when you follow your curiosity, that's where you land at the spot that you need to be at. I can't be curious.
Can someone quote that, please? Just put it in the comment section. Say it again, please.
I can't remember it. If I say it, so one thing about me is if I say one thing, boom, it's done. But I can't chase
your curiosity.
I can't chase other people's curiosity. So if Baraka is curious about,
hold up. Do you hear how she calls my name? Please say it again. I just see people.
Baraka accent on the A.
Doing all the Zoe Baraka. I don't swear for him. Wait, can't you know? Say it again. My sister.
Baraka.
Go on.
So I can't chase your curiosity, right? For years I thought I could do what other people were doing, or at school I thought I had to do the sciences, and I struggled throughout. But it turns out at some point you have to chase what smells, feels, sounds, looks good to you, and what speaks to your calling. And who knew what my calling was? All I knew was that there are certain things I liked and certain things I didn't like. And Spain opened up a world of opportunity. One big thing about Spain is, so I'd done sciences until O levels, and I did a shocking job. Got back to Jamaica, and so clearly could not continue with the sciences. So did a smattering of things that, because A levels doesn't give you the flexibility to dance around too much. Yes. But I was adamant I wanted to go to a university where I could explore, because I had not explored what the world had to offer yet. And that's how I ended up at a liberal arts college. But by the time I did grad school, and I went to MIT to do it, by then I was like, right, I'm ready for this. I know what I want to dabble in, and let's take it from there. So I think the biggest lesson was, let's run with our curiosity. Let's allow for it. And you and I have had this conversation, and a lot of people know me for this particular thing, and I'm going to tread very cautiously when I talk about it. But there's a habit that we have here in Ghana, which sounds cute. So you hear it early on if you're not from Ghana, but the expression is too known. And it's basically something that people tell even kids when kids are expressing curiosity or stepping outside the line, or they're pushing the boundaries of knowledge or going beyond something they've been given permission to do. We shut them down by telling them that they're too known.
We are too known.
You're too known. So we're literally and figuratively pulling people back from curiosity. Yes. So I'm really hot and bothered about this whole curiosity thing, because you actually have to teach people how to be curious again. We have to retool people and tell them it's okay to ask. It's okay to question. You cannot be an inventor, pushing the boundaries of life if you're not asking questions. So I think if I had if they were a social engineering project, I'm tiptoeing, but it would be to revisit that expression and to just put it aside. I cannot tell you the amount of 18-year-old students who sat in front of me. And when I've asked them, why did you stop doing art? Or why did you stop doing doodles? Or why did you stop speaking out in class? Or why did you stop raising your hand? They'd say, hey, they were calling me too known.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So I'm not making it up. I'm telling you that
No,
people,
I'm a victim. Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my curiosity chasing, and
Wow.
I firmly believe in it. We absolutely need to encourage people to ask questions. And I recall now a question that my dad asked me, which led my curiosity to deal with the idea of choice, which is another big thing that I push a lot. Choice. What choice do we give people? So there I am. I finished grad school and I think I'm all that and a bag of chips or a bowl of fufu.
Yeah,
Or
fufu is better.
I'm all that.
And a bowl of fufu.
I'm wearing business suits with power pads. Back then we had shoulder pads.
Oh God, I remember those.
Don't revisit. So there I am. So I was working at the World Bank at the time. So clearly I thought I was a bag of chips, right?
Yes,
because for any developing country person working at the World Bank, no matter what the job is,
Hey, you make money.
Well, not sure about the money, but at least your parents could talk about you,
like
without crumbling with embarrassment, right? So anyway, so there I am. And I'm madly in love with a guy who I met as a freshman at Swarthmore. Kofi, same guy. And we're engaged to be married. So up to that point, I'm seeing myself as Kofi Annan of the future. I'm carving out a world of travel, but like diplomacy, something that would have me shifting countries all the time, because I knew that I got my energy from stepping into other people's shoes, perspective. I don't know. And I just suck up everything. I'm very visual. And anyway, so there I am power walking through, DC. I get home, no mobile phones back then, I guess. And it suddenly occurs to me that by getting married, my dream or my goal is going to have to shift a little bit, because Kofi also travels, because he was in a consulting job that would send him out of DC every Monday morning, first flight, and he'd be back every Thursday evening, last flight.
Wow.
And yeah, so we were already used to the life of being apart, and it worked for us because that was our life. So, Daddy,
that pause looks like Sila right there. Like,
I ding, 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 ding. All of a sudden, my planning brain, which is very future thinking, is not making sense, because I'm going to be Kofi Annan. I'm just going to use him for reference.
Yes.
So I said, Daddy, I'm confused. Daddy said, why? What's going on? I said, all my life, I've been prepared for a world of education, a world of excellence. Jamaican women are among the most educated. So we actually, schooling system, we're more educated than the men in terms of numbers at every step. In the science faculty, we're one of these rare countries where women sort of are sent to learn.
Wow.
Education, Dad, I've done all these things and you know my dream, but getting married, hang on, what's going to happen? Oh my gosh, Dad, what's this marriage thing all about? And to be very clear, I had the most amazing examples of marriage around me, amazing examples of men who encouraged women. So that was it. And everybody loved Kofi. I love Kofi. I was like, but hang on, what goes on now? So Daddy said, Ruth, you do know that in everything you do in life, you have a choice.
Ooh. I hate
Pause and reflect. Meanwhile, ring on finger, ring on finger.
that.
Ready,
You ready?
ready, man. Dress, pick out, and ting. Everything ready. And dad says, you have a choice, right? He says, you know that we love Kofi to bits. But as a young woman, you have a choice. Nobody's holding a gun to your back. You have a choice about whether or not you get married. And whatever your choice is, you have to figure out what the pluses and minuses, consequences, and you need to work that out. Nobody else can work that out. But just know that you have choice. The single most important gift that my father could have given me, and he always has my mom's backing because they're like best friends, was a gift of choice. Yes, I chose Kofi and I chose everything that came with it because I could reinvent and recraft. But having permission to choose, sure, let me tell you, powerful. And so that's one of the things that I encourage people around me to have. What would it look like if you didn't get married? What if? Is it the end of the world? And what does it look like? What do you want it to look like if you get married? So, as I said, I got married, have the best of all worlds, ended up moving around between plenty countries. But I think it's my curiosity and my sense of choice. You always have a choice that kind of landed me here in Ghana, just to come full circle. Because at every step of our moves, we've exerted curiosity and choice, and our kids also understand that. So that's kind of why now I love to work with 20 plenties, because the next gen rocks. And because I want to make sure that every person from between 18 and let's say 32 understands the power of curiosity and questions, and understands what choice really, really looks like. It's not need, it's not want, it's what I choose. And just the sentence that says, I choose to do this, shifts the game. It's not, I need to get married, or I want to get married, or I need to be Kofi Annan, or I choose to do this. And then you start working with everything else that falls into place. But that's a bit preachy.
No,
Forget
it's
that.
not. Let me tell you, the chat room is blowing up. Okay, see, choose your choice and love your choice. Having permission to choose. This is not preaching. This is it. Yes. What if? A big question in life. What if? Curiosity and choice. It's just ridiculous. It's not needs. It's what I choose. Hi, Chidi. Oh my God, fashionista. Thank you for joining us. I'm telling you, you're not preaching. This is major perspective, as a producer would say. Major perspective. I didn't even see the comment. I just said it. Look at that.
So that's where we are, and that's
Wow.
what lands me here.
Wow. I'm so curious about the 9-10-year-old you and how you traveled to a different country. How was that for you? What was leading to that? Did you get on the plane by yourself? Tell me something. Yes.
And if you speak with my mom right now, she made me a dress, because back then you wore a special outfit to travel. And look, to be clear, Grand Cayman is like a 30-minute flight from Jamaica, right? And the plane lands and takes off, right? But back then you could wave at people from the gallery in Jamaica from the airport.
Yes.
And my mom sewed everything that I had, because she's just creative and dynamic. And she made me this calico dress with a little pattern at the top. I can still see it because that whole experience is wrapped up. She went and bought me a basket made out of, what did they make it out of? Cane, trash, corn, whatever. The thing that basket stuff.
Right, yeah, the basket.
Basket. And she gave me a hanky, a special handkerchief. And she waved, and they remember seeing me crying, because I was like, the moment of truth has come, and I'm actually doing this by myself with the air hostess, but fine. But all of us remember some tears. And 20-minute flight, 30-minute flight. And that was the first time, maybe, yes, it was the first time that I wrote a letter to my mom and my parents because they were in Belize. And we still have that letter.
Ah.
So that's when my letter writing went crazy. I started getting pen pals all over, but my mother and I have a suitcase full of letters that we've exchanged between us. And I think that's where it all started, the letter writing. And I'm still going to do something with those letters, but reading them is pure storytelling.
Ah.
And my mom led the way.
Oh my God. So then you get there, and your friend's family picks you up.
Friends, family picks me up. We're in tears. We haven't seen each other since they left Jamaica suddenly. And I just spent, I think, 6 weeks with them up to then. So bad habit, I'm TMI. For all of you who beat kids who suck their fingers, let it go. I sucked my finger until I was about 9 or 10. I have this whole manual, right? So I sucked my finger.
Mhm.
I went from 3 to 2 to 1. And I remember my friend's mom saying, listen here, sis, enough. If you stop sucking your finger, I will buy you a dress. What? Dress? A dress that my mother hadn't made me? A shop dress? What? Boom, 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 done.
You stopped there.
Vanity is something else.
Wow.
So Grand Cayman was lovely, much, very, very small, but it was such a great experience because I wasn't with my family and I was in a new place. And that's where I got over the fear and became frisky footed.
Wow. Oh my God. You know what, guys? This is what we're going to do. We're going to open up the chat room and say, do you have a question for Ruth? Because I feel like questions spur Ruth to tell the most incredible stories. And I'm beginning to realize that that's what happens with Curious Souls. Because when Nana was here, our very own, we've dubbed him Kwabna Yesu on this platform, Seventh Nana. When he was here, this is exactly what happened. After a while, I said, no, let's ask questions, because then we'll just get to feel more. But I was watching this video, and I watched that video when you were talking about Ghana and Jamaica and all that. And I'm not going to ask you about the differences. I'm going to ask you about the similarities. What are the similarities? What are the fun things that Ghanaians do? And this is my question. And then whilst you're answering my question, we'll have others come on and tell and ask other questions from you. But what are the fun things that when you go to Jamaica, you're like, wait, no, am I in Ghana? What's going on? You know what I mean?
So when I came to Ghana the first time in 91, I remember going into my now husband's family home and seeing people in the kitchen talking, their body language, the way people stood up on the side of the street. There's a certain rhythm that's very familiar for Jamaicans. There's a certain, Ghanaians are a lot more restrained, but there's a certain play on words. And patois, the syntax of patois comes from the syntax of tree.
Wait,
so
what?
Yeah. So in Jamaica, for example, so if you say, I think that, we do it exactly the same way they do it in tree. My head has told me that. So in Jamaica, we say, my mind tell me say. We say that instead of I think. So it's medrene, me kachre se, or whatever. Same thing. So it's the same concept. It's when we stoop. My mother told me this, Jonkoto. A lot of Jamaicans don't know it, but I had to ask people, guys, my mother has just said this Jamaican phrase. What does it mean? And it meant something in tree. It meant to stoop. So just moving around Ghana, there's a certain.
What was that phrase again?
Jonkoto. I can't say it really well, but it means to stoop on your haunches, And mommy just said it out of the blue. I'd never heard her say it all my childhood. But here she was 3 years ago and she says it. I'm like, mommy, where that word come from? Where's that word from? And she says, I don't know. I just said it as a child and it means to stoop. I said it as a child in Jamaica. And so I put it on Facebook immediately. Boom, there's the answer. So there are a lot of words in Ghana that are from tree. So not that I can hear tree and automatically understand it, but the phrasing is very familiar. So when we say, so for example, we use the word "say" in Jamaica. Him tell me "say," boy, I feel "say." In Jamaica, we think that it means "say," but it's actually the tree word for that. I think that. We actually say. And the pause is the same thing, the same pause. Boy, me think say. I want to feel say. Yeah. Exact same. Exact same hand on hip. Boy, me want to feel say. And it pauses in the same way. So when I came to Ghana, all this stuff kind of like boom, 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 exploded.
You're like, wait, I'm home.
Yeah.
Home. Wow, Juliet, Lady Juliet. Well, by the way, Lady Juliet, happy 24th anniversary to you and the Stan, the man himself, Stan T. These guys are an incredible, incredible couple. My goodness. So congratulations to you guys. But Lady Juliet has, I know, right? Yay to marriage. Lady Juliet says, which do you prefer, wache or rice and peas?
Stop. No, why are you going to do this to me right now? But you know it's morning. Okay.
I need the wache and the wele.
So it's funny because I see each of them in their own context.
Wow.
Me, I got upset when they started serving wache in styrofoam packs. I was like, hey, Debbie, me, I want everything mixed up and blender. I want everything, all the different parts rolling around in a bag because that's how I learned wache. So I can't even associate rice and peas with coconut cream and that flavor of thyme, which you never see in Ghanaian food, versus wache with in a leaf, with plenty shito, with you can keep, and you can keep gari, everything mixed up. So I love wache for what it is and what it represents in a leaf, sitting with my husband, eating that, sitting with colleagues and eating that.
Doing wache parties.
And wache before midday. And after midday business. Early. As opposed to rice and peas, which I associate as a Sunday meal, Sunday dinner. At a different time of day, with a slightly different combination of things. But that's why I can't compare that. They're completely different.
Wow. Another question here. Let me find it. S&M says, I hear there's a street in Kingston called Chirimanting. And I don't know if that's a question or it's a statement, but I thought you would.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. They probably would have tinkered with the spelling because we can't do the KY pronunciation, or we can't see and interpret it. But there are other places in Jamaica that have names like Akompong, and the jury is out as to whether Akompong is coming from Akropong or Achampong. So we have a few places like that, or national heroes, Kojo, Nani.
Oh my God.
And that's where we during our honeymoon, we went up to Akompong because Kofi and I wanted to do that.
Yes.
So yeah, we eat Dokono. It's slightly different, but we call it Dokono or blue draws, but it's the same concept wrapped in a leaf.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. This is incredible. So Rose says, what is wache? I'm going to let you answer that because I think you would have an interesting perspective on that.
So wache to the outsider looks like rice and what we call rice and peas, rice and beans, but they use smaller black peas and we use the big beans. Yeah. It is cooked with sorghum stalks, which adds a red color to the rice. And it looks like rice and peas, but it has a woodier flavor. Yes. And they're perfect substitutes. You eat both of them with a protein. You eat both of them with some gravy of some sort. They are both wicked with plantain. Jamaicans would say plantain, but Ghanaians would say plantain.
Plantain, fried ones. Yes, the fried plantain.
Fried and caramelized on the edge.
Yes.
So that's
Oh
what
wow.
watch is.
Sharon says we had food for each day of the week. Really? In Jamaica? Wow.
Sunday dinner, you have Sunday dinner, and then Saturday you have soup. So if you think about soup in Ghana, let's say a light soup. Oh, we don't have anything like light soup, but there's always a big mound of starch in it. So we boil flour, so it's called a dumpling. But I'm sure originally the idea was fufu,
Right.
and we always have yam and other ground, what we call ground provisions. Adrian,
Right.
yeah. So that's Saturday. Sunday is rice and peas for lunch with roast chicken and plantain and a little salad. Monday,
a little salad.
a little salad. You have a little
A
salad.
little salad. I got it.
And then Monday would be kind of leftovers. You chop up the leftover chicken and you put it in a stir fry or you do something with it. Or yeah, and callaloo shows up there. I didn't love callaloo growing up. Callaloo.
What is callaloo?
So it's greens. So my favorite food in Ghana right now is contumely or palava sauce, which is the greens of the taro root or of the leaves. But our version is callaloo, which is spinach. Alefu, I think it's called in Ghana. Alefu.
Alefu and from my part of Ghana. Yes.
Oh no, actually no, I lie. Alefu is that other one with the pink flower.
Right.
It will come to me, but there's also people who eat callaloo in Ghana. We eat it with a little salted fish. So
wow.
Same concept.
Oh, this is just
I see you, Sharon.
Oh, Honorable Joy says you didn't alert me. Please, we are sorry. But she's here. And welcome to the show. We're just having such a ball today with Ruth. I mean, I've traveled in my mind with you. I've gone to Spain, I've gone to Belize, even though you weren't there, you mentioned it. So I went to Grand Cayman. Tell me about your time in South Africa. So now let's put the three countries together. I just want to see your perspective. Ghana, South Africa. Hopefully there's some people watching that are suddenly going, oh, they're different countries on a different, you know what I mean? Ghana, Jamaica, South Africa. Tell me
Any
something.
Africa.
Yes.
Africa is not a country. Let's just go there. Okay.
Let's just, yes.
So South Africa, let me tell you how South Africa happened. So we're back in DC. Husband's company is opening up an office right after the first election. So this is 95. We got married in 95. And company says, oi, we've opened an office in South Africa. You want to go for a few months?
Wait. Honorable, please. Don't abandon your route. You see what you did?
So I'm not response.
Please, we beg you. Are you teaching or are you learning? But we want you here. So yeah, sorry, go on.
So company says, you guys want to go to South Africa for a few months? And so my bag is always ready. I don't even hesitate. So I'm like, yeah, man, because at that point I was about to leave the World Bank, and Kofi, he was a year behind me in his working life. So he was rip roaring, ready to go. And I was like, yeah, man, come now, come we go. Excitement, drama. So we head off to South Africa. He went, 95, 96. Wow. Oh, wow. Remember, South Africa was just opening up. So everything we had heard about apartheid, we kind of went there, raising an eyebrow, saying, what are we going to find? Una maravilla. What a gift of a country. What a miracle of a country. We've lived there twice. We lived there the first time for 3 years. So 3 months didn't end up being 3 months. When they asked us if we wanted to go back to the States, we're like, oh, heck no. Yeah.
We're going to stay here now. Wow.
3 years. Then we came to Ghana for 5, and then we went back to South Africa for 7. So the kids did a lot of their earlier schooling there. South Africa, this is how I describe it. If you went to a gathering of South Africans and South Africans who were newly freed or emerging, Black South Africans, so-called colored South Africans, they would be discussing ideas at lunch. Within 6 months, you'd see that idea manifesting on the front page of some newspaper. Just to give you an example. People were ready with ideas. And for me, just speaking with a lot of non-Blacks who were apartheid had actually exhausted them, and we don't give them, we don't know, we don't talk about this, right? Because people think it's not woke enough to talk about. But
Yes.
honestly, a lot of South Africans were ready for apartheid to end. They just didn't know how to end
How
it.
to end it.
And speaking with a lot of my white friends in South Africa, I had quite a few who said, Ruth, as children growing up, we didn't even know it was a majority black country because the
Wow.
apartheid propaganda machinery did not have South
Yes.
Africans realizing, some South Africans realizing that really it was a black country. You know, they shuttled people off into homelands. Anyway, long story short is 96, that was ending and people were emerging. And the power and the feeling of people emerging after apartheid was pure magic. And it is a beautiful country. It's dynamic. They fast tracked their development in a way that you just wanted to be around. Vibe, you know, South Africans are unapologetically African. Whites, blacks, coloreds, Indians, everybody in between. Their styling is high quality because fortunately, there were sanctions against South Africa. What sanctions meant is that South Africa had to become self-reliant.
Yes.
To develop their own stuff. So they developed things to a high quality level. So you walk into a supermarket and everything is made in South Africa at the highest quality. You don't even need to go to America with your suitcase and come back. No, everything was in South Africa at the high. I saw things in South Africa that I'd never seen in the US. Their advertising, so they had really, the self-reliance had pushed them to develop a level of excellence that was amazing. So when you add the African piece to it, so their decor always has this African twist. The what they call the bush, the rural areas are brought into modernity. It's a beautiful blend. So South Africa, you know, I'm not one to talk down South Africa. I will not join in that conversation because I've witnessed that for 10 years.
And it's just different.
And they're self-effacing. They will critique themselves and then correct. And they have this attitude, which is all about mock a plan. Let's make a plan. Let's just get on with it.
Wow.
It is an incredible, incredible country. Which, yes, I'll wave their flag any day.
This perspective is absolutely just like I'm sitting here going, my goodness, wow. I absolutely love your mind. I love this. I want to ask you a little bit. Tell me some stories about the curiosity, personal curiosity, not like the ideology curiosity, but personal ones that you went through when you were in Spain, like personal ones.
Okay. Okay, you got me there.
I got you there a little bit.
Siesta was a weird thing for me. So, taking that. So I'd heard about siestas, which is that break after lunchtime, before dinner, and I was like, "What's up with that? You know, why we need to sleep?"
That in Ghana, though, we had siesta.
No, not that would be food coma. And this one,
right after lunch, you had to take siesta for an hour or two. Yes.
But the entire country back then would shut down. The banks closed, stores closed, everybody closes in Spain back then. Look, this was 30 plus years ago, right? Wow. So it's different, but it had me thinking, okay, so why did they have siesta? Okay, because somebody has figured out that when you've eaten lunch and it's hot, so I was in the south of Spain, and Spain generally is a bit warmer than Northern Europe. Then maybe it's not a productive use of your time to go straight to work or back to school. Maybe you need to take a break. So my curiosity had me asking, what's up with this siesta business? Why don't we just get on with life, you know? And as a result, they eat their last meal really late at night, you know, 10, 11 o'clock at night. That one, Jay, killed me. But it had me stepping back and thinking, you know, there's this narrative that talks about Black folk and asks, you know, productivity. Why are we so unproductive, Black tropical folk? And I'm like, it's not that we're unproductive, but honestly, the place is hot. You eat your big food. Maybe the same thing happens for us that happened to Spaniards, only that the Spaniards engineered something called siesta. And I don't know if it was a Northern African influence, because there's a lot of Northern African influence in Spain. I don't know, but they engineered their life to accommodate their climate. And so they kind of don't get the negative criticism or joke or stereotype that we get, black folk falling asleep under a coconut tree, yawn, yawn. So, and it kind of led me to think, what if we actually organized our day, our 24-hour days, to include a siesta, power nap, boost your productivity, and what if? Right. What would it take to reorganize our day?
That. And the curious thing is, we used to have that. We even have that even in the boarding schools. I remember I used to take siestas in school, right? I think between lunch you had lunch, and then the bell would ring and everybody would go for siesta. Like, it was literally called siesta. And, you would wake up, and then it would be around 3:30-ish, and then the day would go on, And so I wonder why it stopped, and if we can bring it back as Africans. Anyway, I thought I would ask you that. Let's see. Had different accents.
Sorry, yeah. I can do the whole patois and then break it down in maybe Pidgin on a good day, or at least Ghanaian English. So yeah, we are there.
And then I picked up a little bit of the South African part too. So then I was like, and then there's the Spain part there. It's absolutely incredible. Sharon says we do siesta on an individual basis. Oh, she's being funny now. But no, it's true how I feel like, because we don't get the siesta, we end up taking very long lunches and then just waste the day. So
we slow down.
When we say we're going for lunch, it's not like in America when you work in a different, like in a corporate setting, or even like, let's say retail, you literally have to go and do the time clock. You punch in, and then they give you exactly 30 minutes, and there is no room to do anything. Man, we can go into this conversation like in different ways, and then you have to go right back to work. So then the opposite happens, where people just burn out, period.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's changing in Spain too. Maybe retailers and bankers don't always observe the siesta, but when your entire nation is kind of organized around that, then you presume that kids aren't learning when it's hottest. We're sitting down or kids are sitting down in hot classrooms and getting fidgety at 2:00 because air conditioning, mijo. Where you and I come from, please. We not have no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So what would it look like if our kids were able to learn at peak hour, at their peak time, and not when it's hottest? And
Wow. I'm going to give one last person a chance to ask you a question. So let the questions flow. And I'm not saying two questions, just one last question, because like I could listen to you talk forever and ever and ever, just talking to me about everything. I'm sitting here thinking about, I know in that other video you were saying that if you go to Ghana, for example, you have to go to the very building and just look at a market, right? Did you do that yourself, and how did that make you feel?
Did I do that where?
In Ghana, for example, did you go up a top of a hill and then or a building and just look at an open market? Why that? Yeah.
So I do that at Mukala because I'm very spatial. I think this is a spatial urban planning kind of thing. When you're in the market, there's a rhythm. Somebody's saying, I go, and you just need to know how to flex left, right, and center. Or as my brother says, in Ghana, we're very intimate with space. Please, we don't do personal space. And yet everybody is rubbing and it's great. Awesome. But you learn to hold
each other, like
you touch, you dodge, you weave, everything in Mokala. So I'm thinking of Mokala. But when I've had visitors, I climb up maybe 4 or 5 flights of steps, because for them, when they're on the ground, all they think about is chaos, and it's not so clean to them if they're foreigner. And I say, let's go above. When we're up, then you can see the patterns. You can see the Kayayos walking. You can see that it's organized. The luggage section is over there. The food section is there. And when you're up, you see that there's method in the madness,
Yes.
and that it's not chaos. It's organized chaos, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Yes.
And that bird's eye view, I think, is very important to understanding, because when you're in the thick of things, you don't necessarily get the full picture.
Yes.
But when you're above it all, then you can make patterns, you can make greater sense of it. So I always take people, I find whatever steps there are around Makula, and I say, let's go up and look down and have a talk.
Man, now you're talking, I'm thinking about, like, there was a place like in Makola, you would literally know if you want tomatoes, this is where you go. Like all of the tomatoes are in one space, right? And then the bend down boutique is like on that side. You know, you can't find the bend down boutique right by the tomatoes. It doesn't happen. The dried fish and the smoked fish and all that, all the fish sellers are. So there is like, so you have to walk from one place to another and like, oh, I'm gonna go get I'm trying to find like the yam. All the yam sellers were at the, I don't know, I forget the name of it now. Is it Tuba Market or something?
Abu Bloshi. Oh, wait, that's separate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's separate. But there was another market where all the yam people were, you know, so there is, but we never thought about it until you're saying it now. And I'm going, you know what? You never really know what is going on if you're in it.
If you want to buy things for your child's birthday party, there's a party planning section in Ghana.
Hey,
party planning, plates.
I didn't even know that.
Thank God my children are no longer small. There's a hair section. There's a shoe section. Yeah.
Yes,
So there is.
those shoe. Wow. Oh my God. Oh, someone gave us the answer. It's Chiba Market too. Yes, that's Tudu, right? Yes, exactly. So we have a question by our producer. She says, "What's your idea of a perfect day for the younger Ruth and for the current Ruth?" Let me take a sip of my tea.
Oh gosh. Younger Ruth. I loved school. I love to chat with my girls, and so much so that I don't like using the telephone now. It's a funny thing. I never talk on the phone. I think I sort of overdosed on talking. The repartee, the laughter, doing things well, hanging out with my boy crew versus after school, because I went to a girls' day school, which is like Wesley Girls. And so I'd hang out with the boy crew afterwards or on weekends as well. But it was, what's a perfect day? If I'm not traveling, okay? Because any given day, if you ask me what I want, I'll tell you an airline ticket.
Me too.
Day. If you tell me you'll give me 5 pairs of shoes, my sister, please, I don't need 5 pairs of shoes.
Right now, yes.
Mame ticket, why?
Yes, yeah.
So ideally, I would be on the move somewhere. But as a young person, just being with people, but also loving my own space, because I spend so much time in my head. I don't know. I just grew up with such a loving younger day self that it's hard to say what was my favorite.
So let me redefine it then. Say you woke up in the morning. What would be the first thing Ruth would do? And then the second and all of that. And then, so just go through the younger Ruth's day in one day. Like what would be the ideal? Yes.
Okay, if there weren't schools. So I lived on the same street for about, I want to say 10 years maybe. My mother tried hard to keep me in the house because I was too frisky-footed. Lord Ruth, how you love walk street. So I'd be barefooted. I'm definitely always barefooted. Even now when people come to the house in Ghana, I am barefooted.
Me too.
And I'd be running up and down the street, going and checking on my friends. And they'd say, come back. And my mom would keep saying, okay, well, Ruth, there's something for you to do at home. And I was like, Mommy, really? I think you're making things up now just to keep me at home. I would play next door in the tree. I would we'd pelt each other with mango seeds.
Oh my God.
I'd make things. I like to do things with my hands. I was just happy.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wow. So then the learning how to cook and because I feel like in African homes, that's how it is, right?
Stop. Okay. One big thing about Ruth, please. So in Jamaica, sometimes, not always, you will hear your mother say, you pick up a book since morning. It's a classic Jamaican expression. You pick up a book since morning. Have you picked up a book
Took a book since
for the day?
morning. Wow.
Have you read for the day? It's a big Jamaica joke. You pick up a book since morning. Your kid could get a star in everything, but we're obsessive about this whole education something. So in my case, my mother tried to get me in the kitchen a bit, but there was a big emphasis on education and girls being educated. So the preference was, no, you do your school thing. They don't obsess about cooking, or they don't spend as much attention on cooking as they do in Ghana. Definitely not.
Wow.
So the idea is, you won't. We have a joke. You go and poison your husband. You are going to poison your husband. But the truth is more important for us to get educated than to figure out the best way to cook rice and peas. So we kind of know it, and you're kind of around it, but no, the kitchen business. So bless Kofi's heart. Shout out to Kofi. He understood early on that wasn't going to be me. And somewhere he knew it. We had a full-on discussion, because we just had to have that discussion, that I was not going to be that perfect Ghanaian wife
that cooks and cleans. You didn't do that.
We met at grad school, and I was doing my thesis, and cooking was not part. Survival cooking. And that, as I said, my father did not send me to school to learn to cook. We can figure that one out. And when we had kids, for example, when we were in South Africa, we both had full-time jobs, and we made a decision as a family. Do I spend every afternoon, evening cooking, or do I help our kids with their homework to become better versions of themselves? Help the kids. And we said, listen, we can cook on Sunday. We can do 4 stews. Each burner has a different stew. It doesn't need to be fresh. We can do leftover. But cooking did not become our emphasis.
I love that. I really love that. I mean, full disclosure, I'm not a great cook. I give me a book.
We can Google the recipe, Anna.
But back in the day, Google had not really come out yet. So this is very curious for me to find out about Jamaica. I should have.
Can't we learn? Can't we just learn cooking as we go along?
Yes, yes. Whereas learning, for example, is hard. If you miss a certain stage of your life and you didn't learn something, it's hard to go back to it. You know what I mean? So this is incredible. There's a question for you. And I said one question, but Ruth, you know what? The more you talk, you're just giving us more to ask you.
Sorry.
But Sharon had a question for you. I'm trying to find it. She says, does any of your kids travel like you?
Yeah. I think if you live in a household with parents who don't even, if a ticket comes up, we don't even second guess it. We don't obsess about travel. But my kids now like to explore. I think so. Okay, joke. Full disclosure. If we decide we're doing a family trip, they know that there's going to be a spreadsheet with 4 columns: accommodation, food, transportation, and then there's going to be an itinerary, because that's just how my brain works. I'm a planner.
I want to travel with you. You'll do everything and I'll just show up.
Please. That is so my calling, to explore with people. And I can do an itinerary now with my eyes closed. And so on my spreadsheet, and we don't do big travel every year. I beg, please. No, this took a while. We have 3 kids. But it's all there, and they flex. They are easygoing. We're all low maintenance, so it's all about being together. I remember once, before we went to the States, and I had one of these spreadsheets with the budget all done up. I said to the guys, there's no way we're going to afford this trip, because we can't afford the food for 6 weeks. We're 5 people in the family. Put the spreadsheet before them. Where can we cut back? And the kids were, I'd say, mid-teens then. The kids figured out that just by buying water, we used a lot of money. So they said, you know what? As soon as we get to the States, let's all buy a bottle, fill it up at the hotel, and fill it up at water fountains along the way. And so we saved a huge chunk of money, and then we could use that to buy, a book. Okay, we're a bit obsessive. A book or a shirt or whatever. But so the kids are fully on board with understanding choices. You can have what you want, but you have to make choices, and then we can explore to our heart's delight. So yeah, they're big explorers.
Oh my goodness. That is no, I'm trying to not overlook them, but there was another question. Oh, there you go. Dream travel list, Ruth.
Okay, so everybody in the family, we actually take votes. So everybody has 3 countries. So mine is India.
Mhm.
I've been dying to go to India.
Oh,
Another one I've been to a few, so I want to skip over them. Thailand for sure.
mhm.
Vietnam shows up.
Wow.
Maybe because I've done Scandinavia, I've gone somewhere. I want to take everybody back to China. I went to China with work, and it's one of the places that I've come back saying, we need to understand China. We need to understand the language. So one of my kids ended up doing Mandarin in school, but we need to understand it, because the more we sit here and talk about the Chinese showing up in other parts of the world or having an active presence in Jamaica since whenever, it really says that we need to understand them. They don't need to understand it. They figured us out.
They already reverse engineered and re-engineered. They did
Yes.
all of it.
So
Wow.
China, I want to take everybody back to, because I think we all should show up in China and get a sense for the amazingness of China.
Sign me up. Yes. Let's do like a whole India trip, right? But I'm trying to be, no, not jealous. I'm trying to be selfish. I'm like, I want to be between Big Sis Elsie and Ruth. And then I will be the little girl that just gets to just, be in between you guys and just travel with just the two of you. Like I'm being, I'm being selfish.
Learning tours, dream job.
God, that is incredible. Yes, that. Oh, I think you would do wonderful in it. You would be great in it. This is incredible. I mean, oh wow, you're relocating to Jamaica. Okay, Auntie Doris, I hear you. Someone says a lot of people love that island and Singapore, Philippines. Oh, girl, you are late. You are late. I mean, you are late. Okay, you better go and watch this again, because I can't even tell you what you missed. I can't even update you. Sorry, just sorry. I agree on China. They have out. Yes, it says they have figured out. Isn't that incredible? Right, learn and place them in. I don't know what that comment means, Auntie Doris. What are we saying here? Zoe, I'll be right. No, Nanette, sorry, no. I kind of booked myself in between Elsie and Ruth. I'm sorry. You're not invited. I love you, but you're not invited. No, I'm joking. Ruth, what an absolute pleasure you are. Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here going, why have I not known this woman for this long? But you know what? God allows everything to happen at the exact moment it's supposed to happen. And in the last 3 weeks or month that I've known you, just your emails just give me life. Guys, I wish I could share some of her emails. You would just be on the floor laughing and giggling and doing, there's that meme where someone is just going, that's how I think I get when I read her emails. It's just, it is incredible. And yes, Big Sis Elsie says, Ruth is one of my favorite people. I cannot wait for when you guys meet. I need videos and oh my goodness. Anyway, Juliet says, wow, it's been amazing. Got to go. Work calls. Oh, but you've been great today. Work allowed you to be great, at least an hour, 20 minutes or 28 minutes. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lady Juliet. Now, don't think Jamaica is
They've said it.
Wait, what does that mean? Can someone explain that for me? What does that mean?
So
Jamaica.
somebody else can translate it. I hope she translates it. Is it Esinam? Yes. I hope she translates it. But there are people, some people who think that the former that there's slaves named Jamaica because it's very close to a tree expression, which says we are here now or we've arrived here. I can't remember the literal translation,
Oh,
but it's historically a bit questionable because
right.
we have Taino Indians, Arawaks in Jamaica before who had named it the land of wood and water. And that's what
Wow.
Jamaica means. But we'll take it like that, urban legend. And
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Wow. So I'm gonna try very hard to unhook with Ruth right now and kind of just tell you everything you're doing. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have another. Let me tell you something. People of African descent, people of the Caribbean descent, we are a whole vibe. There's something about us that just we're just great people. And I'm not saying it because I'm one of them, but I am saying it because I'm one of them. But we just are, and there's just incredible human beings, just built in resilience, built in love. Like, I know there is always an exception to the rule. You just meet people who are generally just not good people. But to be honest, you find yourself in Africa or in the Caribbean, most people just have pure hearts. It's just pure. There's just this light, this is laughter, and just an easiness about most Africans and most Caribbean people. And so in 2 weeks, we're going to have another one of my favorite you, man. This job right now, just sitting here and doing this, I am having the best time of my life because I get to meet and talk with the most incredible Africans and people of the Caribbean descent. I can't even, yo, let me just slow my roll. But Auntie Lydia is going to be here. If anyone has heard about Farida or read about Farida, you will know just what that excitement is. And she's going to be here and we're going to be discussing her book. So please, please, please join us on the 25th. Now, on the 18th, which is exactly a week from now, we want to read from you. So we've had a few people send us, stories already. It could be like a three-liner. Okay, send a haiku, something, just a story about you, something short. It can be long. Okay, I'm gonna ask Ruth to send me an email that I can read live, just like an email about what's happening in her life, just like an email, because I love reading from Ruth. So stories, we're just going to be reading stories from all of you because we realized what is happening is because it's guest based, we're not getting stories from everyone. You know what I mean? And this platform is for everyone, everyone. So it could be the shortest story of how you woke up. I have this funny story of how I found my lost jeans. It wasn't lost. It's just, my, you know, my hips got wider. So this jeans that found one day, man, I had a fight with the jeans, Ruth. I was, having your leg in the jeans, kicking up your heels, whole thing, and I did it for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and it was futile because it didn't fit, but just doing that, there's really no point to it, but the fact that it was a funny, hilarious scene. We just want to hear from you. So send us your stories to my younger self 7777. That's 47s at gmail.com. Producer Elsie, if you could do me a favor, please put the email address in the comment section. Sumaya, if you also can do that for us, that would be great. It's just so many incredible things happening on To My Younger Self in this season, but I'll tell you just about the two. Just hearing from you on the 18th and Auntie Lee joining us on the 25th in October, closing us out. It's going to be incredible, incredible. I am done. I've got my fill, and I'm gonna have more. So those of you who are jealous, well, Oh, Esinam says, intrigue to mean just let it go. Oh, Jaima.
Uh,
Oh, that's what you mean, Jaima. That kind of makes sense. maybe that's something to study. I don't know.
Maybe.
Beverly says, learned a lot today. Yes. Now, do you want to go to Africa? Yay. And to Jamaica? So, you just, yeah. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. That's the email there, to my younger self, 777 at gmail.com. For those of you who find yourself in Rockland County in New York, DMV area, please, you want to join us on November 7th for the Rockland Fashion Week, hosted by Hope. See, she has your maiden name. Maybe you guys are related in one way or another. I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to find my cue cards because for those of us that like to write, can I be honest? Look at that. I write on little pieces.
I'm familiar with that.
I love the easiness of this platform. We're not trying to be the thing that we're not, But the thing that would grow Africans is when we patronize each other, meaning not in a condescending way, but when we buy from each other and learn from each other, right? There's a few people that I have personally bought from, and I vouch for them. So to my younger self is proudly associated with these guys. Okay. Book Nook by Nana Redamwa, who I call Big Brother, and Kofi Akpagli, who also I call Big Brother. Any book at all you're looking for, these guys specially they tailor make it for. So if there's a book that you cannot find, he's the one you call. They're the ones you call Book Nook. Okay, you want to
And
go
they deliver. Just so you know, they'll deliver to your house in a jiffy.
in an yes, like that fast. It's mind blowing. So yes, go on Book Nook, www.booknook. Big Brother, if you're still here, I'm going to find out. Can you tell me if it's .net or .org? I know I have it, but I did forget. But just Google Book Nook. You can't go wrong. You'll see it because it's authentically African. It's right there. Of course, Kunda Kids. For those of you who have kids that are Book Nook store, thank you very much. I've been talking for a while today, so yeah, it's Book Nook store. You can't miss it. Kunda Kids. If you have kids that are in the learning stages, between 3 and 10. The other day, I have a friend whose kid just out of the blue started speaking like a British person, and the child has not gone to the UK for the life of this child. And we figured out that she learned the accent from Peppa Pig. And I'm not down, I'm not, saying Peppa Pig is not good. They have great educational things. But I think in this bit of storytelling, going back and reminiscing who we are, trying to get into the future. Kunda Kids is the platform you want to download for your kids. They have incredible stories. I'm learning from it, and I am all of, I'm not telling you my age, but I am way more than 10 years old, obviously. They have stories of Amina. They have stories of, Shaka Zulu. Kids get it. They have stories of a king who loves to cook jollof. They teach kids different languages. It's incredible. Please, please patronize Kunda Kids. I want you to also go and patronize. There we go. Where Ghana, Humanity Chats by Margie Marge. Designs keeping us authentic. Man, I have some of her designs here, and every time I wear it, I just feel like I'm on top of the world. Music for Your Quality Feet by Uncle Fish Show. Clatural, of course. M Sims by Mabel Simpson. Ryle by Design, who is Kenyan and is right here in Rockland County. As we were talking, Hope Blake, also, who is right here in Rockland County. Avonzige, for those of you who are getting ready to get married or need a formal wear for anything, you want to contact Avonzige Designs. Keys and Credo by our very, very own Kwabna Yesu Nana Sapon. We love him dearly. Yes, 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 you want to patronize him. Horseman Shoes, Cave Matches. Man, Africans, man. We do it better always. So these are just a few people that I think you can. Oh yeah, Rachel Dodu has a her pharmacy out here in the United States, and she makes incredible handmade soaps and perfumes. Can you imagine that? Infusing science and plants and making perfume. I wear her perfume every day. An African did that. It's incredible, guys. I get excited when I talk about Africa, but we're gonna stop here. Ruth, I'll let you take us away. What is the last thing you would tell anyone about anything in life? Last words.
Whoosh. I just chase joy. So I think chasing joy is a deliberate move. But at the heart of it is choice, I think. You have to make your bed and lie in it. And don't sort of, I want to say everything is possible, but that's so cliche, and I don't think that everything is
not
possible.
Cliche. It's
but I think we have to be deliberate about what we want, and we have to be okay with what we want. So many other people try to squeeze us into various things, and it doesn't work. It doesn't hold. So love life, run out there, explore it, look at things through other people's eyes, and I don't know. I should have thought of something terribly profound, but no.
No, this is terribly profound. Chase joy and be deliberate about it. Basically, that's it. Just joy, no matter what's going on in your life. And I know it's a very bad season for most people. Not bad, but things are not as they were after COVID. So people are picking themselves up. We have to make the choice. Thank you so much. I think that's what I'm taking today for me. It's a choice. Whatever you choose to do, whether you choose it or not, you chose. Ooh, that sounds deep.
That is it. Refusing to choose is also a choice.
It's also a choice. Ruth, it has been an absolute pleasure. You are such a joy. Thank you for saying yes to us. Thank you for coming on to My Younger Self.
And thank you for having me, and for Elsie reaching out to me.
Yes.
Because as my husband will tell you, I don't go seeking these things at all.
But they find you. Like you said, good people find you. So, I want to believe we're good people. So, we found you, and that's great. And thank you for you're just so lovely. And now I wish I could hug you. I'll keep that when I see you in person.
Save it.
Guys, my name is Zoe Baraka. As always, I've been in the virtual studio with Ruth, the amazing Ruth Kwakwa. And we've just been swapping stories. Really, she's been telling stories, and I've just been nodding along and, being giggly and just being happy. But thank you for joining us. We will see you next week with storytelling time under the baobab tree to my younger self. All right. We love you dearly. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
So Timbuktu, Ghana, Mali, Sumanguru, what you're shown. What you're shown.